All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast streaming live on Digital Stream Radio. We're also on YouTube for our Patreon subscribers who can access that live stream if you're a supporter of our show. And you can access the audio live stream by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm here with my two great friends, starting with the first one.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And
good to be with you guys. It's Chris.
And welcome you all to
The Dish.
So before we get started, it's also worth noting that we do have a friend here in studio with us, our friend Armando. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining us. He originally was going to just sit in and listen in and hang out with us and have cocktails, but I put a mic in front of him and turned it on and gave him a headset and said, you know what? Feel free to chime in.
And I feel like that's a common thing because, you come and you agree, oh, yeah, I'll just listen. But then you walk in and you see, oh, shit, this is a real studio. I want one of those mics that I don't have to touch.
Right. And it just hovers all over your face.
Yeah. And
I
you're
wish
like, I'm in
Dix
on
did
this.
that. Seriously, I wish Cox did that.
Well, you're going to be going away for a little bit, so who knows?
Oh, you never know. That's right. I'm going away to Maine again for 4 days. I'll be back Friday and for work. And Trish is having issues with her computer. She fell in New York, and her computer's having the effects. That's all I got. That's serious. You need to go get that checked, girl. I think your computer's got a virus.
It's an Apple. Apples don't get viruses.
You just never know.
Do you watch porn on it?
No.
Yeah. Try telling that to, who was it, Snow White?
I watch porn on my phone.
Apple.
Yeah, but then isn't it the worst when if you're watching on your phone and then you drop the phone on your fucking face? That ever happen to you?
Use your phone, honey, if you can't get into
good talk.
If your
I'm just going to give her a minute. I'm going to give her a minute.
She's going through it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
She is going through it.
So anyway,
it's my computer. Of course, she's going through it.
So that opener, I wanted to touch a little bit on that opener.
Chris got arrested this weekend.
No, so for those of you who don't know that line, a hickey from Kanicki's like a Hallmark card, it's actually from the movie Grease. And the reason why it's in the notes is because Christopher came into the studio with a hickey on his neck.
So can I start this off with a little text thread? Hold on 1 second. Let me just pull this up.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm at work going through it as per usual.
I was nervous to text you because I knew how busy you were.
I was literally dying, so it's fine. So I get a text message and it was like, okay, I need cover up and I don't know what I'm doing. LOL. Of course he would text me because of, the Bondo situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what? Why? He's like, my neck. And I was like, hickey. And he's like, kind of. And I said, tell me who and I'll help you.
LOL. I knew that. I was waiting for that.
He goes, a state trooper. I was like, seriously?
Oh. From what? From where? Connecticut?
A Connecticut state trooper, yes.
What barracks?
I'm not going to disclose anything.
Oh,
can I just get his badge number? That's all I want.
I knew you were going to ask that. No, you cannot.
But
for the record, I didn't get arrested. I just hooked up with a state trooper.
I want DNA.
Proof?
Yeah, everything.
Check my floor.
Check your beard later.
Check my floor. Oh my God.
You wasted that? You're nasty. Anyway.
I didn't want to talk about me.
But I do.
We're not done with this conversation. Exactly.
So tell me, so what happened?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was just, a couple of beers. And then it's like, all right, why not? Why not? Why the fuck not? That's pretty much what I said.
Have we seen him in the neighborhood?
Absolutely not.
No?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Does he normally bite people's heads off?
I don't remember it happening, but the whole reason I said the dude thing was because I got up and I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was just like, dude. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, sorry.
Not okay.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. It's like when that's happening to me, I'm like, what? I know. I'm like, what are you? This is what? That's not even.
You're sucking on my neck.
Yeah, but it's not like you're sucking on my neck. You're literally trying to get the vein.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Absolutely. You sound like a politician.
And I'm guilty of these things too. But I'm a gentleman. Below the neckline.
Mm-hmm.
Below the neckline. Okay. Put them on the ribs, somewhere on the, where it can be covered. Where I don't have to, stroll into math at 10:40 in the morning looking like a whore sitting in the back. And then, of course...
hey, no horse shaming on this show.
That's right. person who sits in front of me ended up. Turns out that we were both gay, and he messaged me on Snapchat later.
Of course he did.
And he was
Are
like,
you sure it wasn't
that
Grindr?
a hooky? A hooky?
A hickey.
Was that a hickey, sir?
You're speaking cursive already? We
Yes.
just started.
I know.
Are you sure it wasn't Grindr?
Well, I mean, it started from Grindr, but then we went to Snapchat.
Okay. Now he's hitting on boys in his
Oh
class.
my God, there are so many
This
men
is-
already in his
I'm
life.
telling you.
Absolutely not.
All right. Well, listen. So I wanted to open the show up with a story. Well, something that happened to one of our members here of the cast.
We all know who it was.
Trish. She hasn't not let us forget it. I will. I do have to mention that every 5 minutes. Oh, I almost died. I almost died. I was like,
Is it really every 5 minutes, or am I just like, can I get?
I was gonna say like 3.5.
My favorite is that it's followed by
is
I don't want to
being-
talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
But I'll bring it up.
And there she goes. How far do
So-
we? 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Good work, Trish. You held
I'm
on hard.
proud of you. So, but before we do, Christopher, what are we having the? What are we drinking?
What are we drinking? Well, we just did a staff meeting. That's what we're going to go with today. We're going to have ginger. Like Tom said, it was a ginger snap.
That's
it
right.
was very simple. Half a shot of vodka, half a shot of ginger liqueur.
Mhm.
It's delicious. It's puts a snap in your step because it was a little
Mhm.
potent, and it's nutritious.
And it gets
How
you
so?
Because it makes your belly all nice and warm
and good.
and helps for the digestion.
It's ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I'm very awake now.
Perfect. That's what I'm here for.
Well, that's all that counts. So, all right. So we've got the cocktail out of the way.
Kind of.
So I wanted to throw the mic over to our girl Trish over here because Trish went to New York City this weekend on Saturday, and she had a moment. She had a moment in where she almost lost her life, and we wanted to talk about that because today's episode could have completely gone very different.
Well, first of all, if you had an episode after my death,
She would have killed me.
I would have come back to life to kill you.
So
it would have been
anyway,
your eulogy.
so yeah, we would have done a
very
memorial
gay
show.
talk
Maybe
eulogy.
Maybe we could wait like 3
Aw.
weeks or
It's
something.
like a Christmas thing.
exactly.
I like it.
But let's not
I'll
die.
fucking kill you.
Oh, okay.
All right, so why don't we start from the beginning? Why did you go to New York City?
So Paul, who used to be on the show,
Uh-huh.
it always
Fuck her.
Everything that ever happens to you somehow involves Paul.
And you still haven't connected the dots.
no, I have.
It's fun.
Paul had tickets to go see the Global Citizens Festival, which is a concert to help end poverty.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's great. And it had a great lineup: Janet Jackson, Cardi B, a bunch of other people. And
Oh, she got arrested today. Sorry, continue.
I love it.
Probably her that started the whole thing.
Oh, go
I'll
ahead.
throw a shoe at her.
Mm,
Hashtag Nicki Minaj. Thank you.
go ahead.
So we're like having a good time, just hanging out and like
Mhm.
whatever. And then all of a sudden, probably about an hour or so after we've been there, somebody thought a gunshot went off, and it was like everybody started running and screaming for the gates. So Trish is there.
And Trish is in the middle. And Trish is sideways at this point, trying to find Paul and looking
So Paul
for
is
Paul.
behind me, and I turn sideways to grab him. And in the process of me turning sideways, I fell.
She got tackled.
I mean, she was wearing stilettos. What do you expect?
Right?
I know. Keeping it serious, Chris. Keeping it serious.
So the last thing I saw was Paul reaching for my arm
Oh,
and looking at his face, and his face like literally was just like jaw dropped, like this bitch is gonna die. And I went straight up down, and there were just like bodies on top of me, just like going over it. And I was like, I hit the ground. As I started to fall, I was like, Nick, you're gonna die if you don't get up.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck up. And somehow I
Mustard.
got up and ran into the grass and ran behind a tree and a barrier because I had no idea what was going on at that point. Turns out that nothing actually happened. It was either a barrier or a bottle that popped. But in today's society, you hear a pop, you start,
You just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
and there was like so many people. Like when I say it looked like a wave of people, I literally mean it looked like a fucking ocean wave of people. And so, yeah, no, I lost my phone, and
Someone found it.
Well, yes, but so I lost my phone.
You see how I reminded you? I'm very familiar with the story because I heard it like 90 times.
You heard it once.
Sunday.
It's a memorable
Wait, and
story.
Saturday. Oh, girl, you don't love me. I almost died. I'm like, I
This
love you,
bitch didn't even
baby.
care.
It wasn't that I wasn't caring. I had just finished working a shift and I was exhausted, and I saw your body there. I was like, she's here. She's alive.
She's got a limp.
Okay.
And there's some trauma there.
No, there is, and I'm not discounting her trauma at all. I'm just simply saying, bitch, I don't want to hear her right now.
So anyway, so
Nasty.
for the
And
90th
also,
time.
if Trish is like, I almost died, you're like, okay, what happened?
Well, I did the first time.
Yeah,
By
right?
the 50th,
So-
I was like, I'm so over this
Yeah,
right
oh my
now.
God.
But go ahead.
so I fell, and when I fell, I lost my phone,
Mhm.
and I was behind the tree, and then I came out, and everybody was like basically gone, and you walk around the park, and it was just like shoes and bags and phones everywhere.
Did you find any cash?
Keep
I'll get
things
there.
nice.
I'll get there.
Ooh.
So I can't find my phone anywhere. I have no idea how to get a hold of Paul and his sister. I don't know if they're okay. I don't know what's going on. And then finally, I find there's a woman walking through the park, and she had her phone on her. And so I asked her, I'm like, can you just call my cell phone? And she was like, of course, yeah, I'll call your cell. And so she stood with me. She called my cell. We put it on speaker, and Paul's sister picked up, and she was like, Nick? And I was like, Jess, are you okay? Where are you? And so I ended up finding her after a couple of minutes, but like walking out of the park, I saw her face, and it was like she was literally like, she thought I was dead. Like they had no way to get a hold of me. The last thing they saw was a mass amount of people running over top of my body, and they just got out of the park.
They left you high and dry.
They didn't have a choice.
I know,
There
I
was
know.
you can't turn around.
It's a dangerous situation.
It was
right?
the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen. It just started happening. You had 3 seconds to make a decision.
You have a stampede of people coming at you.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole crowd is literally pushing in one direction,
Mhm.
and there's no pushing against.
And
that.
everybody's worried about themselves. But you know what I do have to say is that in moments like that, it's like interesting to see how people react. Like somebody found my phone, and instead of keeping it and selling it or whatever they could have done or could
Mhm.
not have done with my phone, they picked up the call from a friend and tried to find them. And
Mhm.
the guy, I guess, when he called her, she was like, Nick? And he was like, no, I have a phone. I found a phone. I don't know where the owner is. Where are you? Can I bring you the phone? And like, if he hadn't done that, I probably would have not found Paul or Jess. And I would have been in New York with no wallet, no phone.
So you got your wallet and your phone back, everything.
My wallet was in Paul's fucking fanny pack.
Well, that would explain why you wouldn't have had a wallet. Although I do think that she probably would have went for cocktails afterwards
Oh, definitely did.
on,
Yeah.
on your expense.
But
She just got her face trampled. Of course she wants a cocktail.
No, not her. I was saying if Paul never found her, she would have had a cocktail on her dime.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
No, you
Easily.
don't even understand. Like Paul.
No, I know.
Paul had he has anxiety, and like when that happened, he was like, the last thing he saw was me going under a sea of people. He thought I was gone.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying.
No,
for
I
him.
would be terrified. Are you kidding me? My Trish, I'd be
I have to.
moving things over.
I'd
It's
be
like battle.
plowing through people.
It's like Battle of the Bastards on Game of Thrones. It's
It-
like move, bitch. I got a sword in my hand. I got to find my Trish. Like serious.
But it was that was the first moment in my life where I realized that Paul actually cares about me.
Oh, oh, they'll be getting married tomorrow.
No,
I know.
but yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Well, and it's weird. That
I am fucking sore.
it's weird that this happened, right? And you're still hurting, and it's weird that this happened. But today is, and you had mentioned this, is the 1 year anniversary of the shootout or that big massacre that occurred in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And our guest Armando here,
Yeah.
you were there
I wasn't there for the actual
during the day.
Yeah, I was at Mandalay Bay for brunch during the day. I was in Vegas for a friend's wedding. I flew out like 20 minutes before it started. And when I
Mhm.
landed in San Francisco, all of my friends, we were on a text thread together. Luckily, a lot of my friends had left the hotel that we were at. We were at the Luxor right next door. But I remember just like the music of the festival playing, coming through, bleeding in through my window, and like the music from the Luxor lobby. And I had been complaining about it. And my best friend was like, I know you were there. They're like, is this the same music festival? And like, it's interesting the way that people react to it, and
Mhm.
the way that everybody comes to each other's rescue.
Yeah.
No matter like who you are.
Well, I mean, what you see, a lot of the news clips that you saw when that happened, right? It's like 50 plus people ended up dying, but you were seeing people putting people in the back of pickup trucks and stuff to bring them to the hospital. And so, you know, your situation, Trish, could have been a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
And thank God it wasn't, because, you know, we have you here and we don't have to do a memorial episode, because that would probably be the best, like,
That's all she cares about is
freaking like
ratings.
burning. That'd be the best, like, burning of the Trish episode that we would ever come up with.
And you guys would be crying.
No, because we know that you can't come back to get us. When
That's a good point.
Stuff,
that is
right?
a good point. No, are you kidding me? That bitch will haunt the shit out of us.
Of course
I
she
hope
will.
to hell I outlive her.
There'll be the ghost
What, is
of
your
Trish.
equipment not working?
outlive
Sorry.
her.
I will literally, like, probably have the ghost of Trish in every single beam in this house. It'll creak for the rest of its life. So, but anyway, no. So what I was saying was, it's you know, these types of situations and being in such spaces with large amounts of people can become dangerous in an instant, right? And so when you do decide to go to a concert, whether it's on an open green or in an open park or even in a venue itself, you really need to be very vigilant of your surroundings and
know your exits.
Know your exits, or have a game plan when something happens.
The thing is, the security is so intense now. There is one exit, and they have stanchions all the way from, literally, we probably walked about 2 miles in stanchions. So before you got to the entrance of the area. So just imagine all of those people trying to run out that one exit and have to deal with all of those metal stanchions.
Which is kind of the same with Las Vegas. I believe there was that one main place for everyone to plow through. And at that point, the gunman was just taking advantage of that spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect vantage point for him. It's unfortunate, but they do it for safety reasons. But in a situation like that, it becomes very difficult to evacuate the area.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a shooting, like the station fire, like getting out of that club was not easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like capitalism at its worst.
I agree. And that happened, that was in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe I thought it was like 125 people burned in that fire. And basically it was pyrotechnics gone wrong. People started stampeding towards the exit, and, you know, it's like you've got this amount of people trying to squeeze into a space this big, and next thing you know, it's like people are just, you're stuck.
Right.
And they couldn't get out. And I remember that happened, I think it was like 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago. I remember reading the news about that, and that was very tragic. A lot of changes have come code-wise from cities and ordinances that are being passed as a result of that when you're building clubs and stuff like that. But as you can see, even having different exits doesn't really guarantee that you're really going to survive something of that nature. When you think about Pulse, for example, there were several ways of you being able to get out of that bar, but you still had 49 individuals, brothers and sisters of our community and allies, that passed away that day. So it's really intense to be in a situation like that. And all I can say is I'm glad that you're not physically I'm glad that you're okay. I know that you're hurt, but I'm glad that you're not dying.
No, yeah. I do have to say, though, like, if you ever find yourself in a situation like that, just stay calm. Like, literally, before,
always easier said than done.
No, I know.
Of course.
But, like, when I saw all of those people coming at me, I literally said out loud, we need to stay calm. And then I went down thinking I need to stay calm and get the fuck up.
That's what happens to people. Stay calm.
And like, but like, I managed myself really well. And then when I finally got out and I knew I was safe and I had a second, I sat down. Yeah, I fucking cried. I fucking cried like a
baby.
But if you're panicking, your mind will not be clear.
No, and like and it's so impossible to not panic when you have people screaming the way they were,
right,
and just running at you.
Yeah, it's pure pandemonium.
But you have to, like, literally not panic and just look for the best way for you to be safe.
The hysteria, like in Vegas after the shooting at the other hotels, there were rumors of other shooters, and we know now that that wasn't true. But in that moment, it's just kind of like trying to filter out what's true and what's not, what's hysteria and staying focused.
Mhm.
It's really important.
Absolutely.
You know, it's funny. Actually, the girl that that night that I used her phone to call my phone, I texted her afterwards. I'm just gonna read it. I was like, "Thank you so much. You called my phone and it helped me find my friends. Thank you. My name is Nick, and I appreciate you so much. Oh my God, Nick, no problem at all. So glad we're all okay."
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
You should totally bring her on the show so we
And
can
she
talk
has
about
a
your
daddy of a
experience.
boyfriend, man.
Bring him too.
I was like, but it's funny because me and Paul were talking about this guy, and he was beautiful, and he was tall, and he had this man bun. And me and Paul both clocked it, and we were just like, holy fuck. And then that was the couple that helped me. I was like,
Lucky
can I get
you.
him his phone? Like, thinking back, I may have missed an opportunity, but brain wasn't really thinking right. So
Oh my
That's
God.
okay. You can't win them all.
I can't win a lot lately. I just want a normal fucking weekend. Like,
But-
literally.
but you're,
I walked into
you're
work
Nick.
today and everybody was like, what is going on, man? And I'm like, I got trampled. And they were like, what the fuck is happening in your life? Like,
And it wasn't even like a good kind of trample, you know, like,
Uh.
but okay. Well, I'm glad you're okay. And I'm glad that you're here and you lived through that to be able to tell us a story and talk about it. And it's an experience that you're not going to forget.
nope.
All right. So listen, we do have a couple of stories that we wanted to cover on today's show and talk about before we go to break. Maybe we can squeeze 2 stories in there. So I'll kick it off. I just wanted to point out that the story that I'm about to cover is from gaytimes.co.uk. And basically what it's saying is that Switzerland has now has made homophobia and transphobia illegal, comparing them to racism. The story goes on to read, it says Switzerland has changed its penal code, meaning that people who are homophobic, transphobic towards someone else will face the same punishment as if they were racist towards them. Switzerland's National Council voted by 118 to 60 votes to update the penal code, and people who break the law could face up to 3 years in jail. I think that's an amazing thing. One,
So when they say homophobia and transphobia, are they saying like if somebody like an attack, or is it this? Do we think about this like a hate crime, or is it like somebody's homophobic and you report them and they can get like
whatever the penal, whatever you get penalized for being racist, for example, if you're either saying racist remarks or you've done something that affects someone else and it was racially motivated, that same type of punishment now applies to people who are transphobic and homophobic.
So if you're using racial propaganda or anti-LGBT propaganda, putting things on the internet, on different social media networks, you will be brought to trial. And if you're found guilty, you can be you could face up to 3 years in jail.
So Matthias Reynard, who proposed the law following the vote, said homophobia is not an opinion, it's a crime. 1 in 5 homosexuals attempt suicide, half before the age of 20. This victory sends a strong signal. I have already received hundreds of reactions regarding this particular passage of this ordinance. Speaking to Latam's Renee Shegg, did I say that right? The Secretary General of the LGBTQ group Pink Cross said the decision of the day is an important step. It will likely bring Switzerland back into the ranking of the International Association of LGBTI people, where our country currently ranks 22nd behind Estonia and Hungary.
Interesting.
So, you know, when you think about a lot of the things that are all these successes that are currently happening, right? We talk about the decision that was made from the EU court to define what partnership was among the EU states and how that affected people in Romania, for example. We talked a little bit about that 2 weeks ago in one of our episodes, which, by the way, Hans immediately replied. We completely made that like super.
oh my God, Hans!
I know.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, it's okay. We completely made that super difficult, as he said. It was like it didn't need to be that complicated. But anyway, no. When you think about the ripple effect of small things, those small wins that are happening in the EU, and how that sort of kind of trickles down to the rest of these smaller nations, this is an amazing win. I mean, this is probably an equivalent of what we have here as a hate crime, right?
I mean,
but not to that point.
Yeah, because that is something I was thinking about as you're saying this. Is
it's more than just hate crime.
Our Constitution would, this law that they're passing would be deemed unconstitutional in the United States of America because it's not illegal to be racist. It's not illegal.
Clearly,
to,
you can be.
Well, our president does it all the time.
Until you're breaking a crime in regards to race or sexual orientation, it becomes a hate crime. You're protected by the First Amendment right. So it sounds like here, if someone walks down the street and yells faggot at someone, that's okay. But it sounds like if you're in Switzerland and someone's walking down the street and you call them a faggot, you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about this? And like, I think this may be coming out of a different place. So you said, there's a quote in here that's you already read. 1 in 5 homosexuals attempt suicide, half before the age of 20. I think what this law may help with or be doing for the country is protecting the younger LGBT community from being accosted and taken down and tore down, and to the point where they want to commit suicide because they don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They're literally saying racism is not right and illegal, and so is homophobia. Right. Because at the end of the day, racism and homophobia are basically the same thing.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So,
different demographics, but same thing.
Well, and it's a lot more complicated when it comes to the racial part of it, right? There's a lot more history, at least here in the U.S., regarding the racial dynamics when you think of the comparison. But the interesting thing, as I mentioned before, is like all these little victories has like this trickle down effect. So following that victory, Reynard confirmed that he has plans now to introduce marriage equality in Switzerland. Since 2007, the country has offered civil partnerships, but same-sex couples don't have the same rights when it comes to taxes, fertility, welfare, and adoption. So little small wins like this make it possible for people to move on to other things and say, okay, now we did this, now we can do more.
It's interesting, though, because Chris brought up a really good point, though, because in America, you couldn't pass a law like this.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have the right to your own opinion.
Right.
Which is fine. It's when you take that opinion and oppress a people that it becomes a problem in any way, right? And here I am sitting like, this is a great win, right? In a way. But at the same time, I'm like, is it necessarily the right win? Because you think about you're literally saying, okay, your feelings and your thoughts aren't valid and they're illegal. And like, not that we don't want those thoughts to change. Obviously, we don't want homophobia and racism to permeate through kids and families and whatnot. But at the same time, if we don't have the rights to our own opinion and mindset, are we being controlled? Well, not saying that we shouldn't have done this.
Because you also have to think about, for example, we have racism in this country. It's evident. We've had it for well over 250 years.
And homophobia.
So here's the thing.
And transphobia, sorry.
Yeah, we have all of that. But although we have our First Amendment right to be able to have freedom of speech, there are consequences to the things that you say. We also have other constitutional rights that prohibit groups from discriminating on against others based on sex, race, sexual orientation. I mean, we do have these protections in our Constitution. So while we may have freedom of speech, we do have other...
Are there protections in our Constitution based on race or sexual orientation? No.
There's actually the civil rights movement ensured that we had race.
But that's not the Constitution.
It's an amendment to our Constitution when they passed.
Well, I know the 15th Amendment was universal suffrage for all men, regardless of race. So that was for voting rights. But the thing I feel with, while Trish is doing some work here, in Switzerland here, they're not scanning your brain and getting rid of your homophobic or racist views. You are still allowed to obviously be a homophobe or be a racist, but what they're saying is you can't display that out in public.
Just keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself. If you hate gay people, hate them all you want inside your own home, but you can't be going out in public and, you know, holding signs. I don't know how far the law goes, but or how far you know, they say with a maximum of 3-year sentence. I don't know how serious it needs to be to get to that point, if it's actually a physical hate crime, or if you're just out there holding signs that say God hates fags. Like, I wonder the extent of it.
I'm sure they have some sort of protections for protesting, etc. You know, I would think Switzerland to me seems like a very progressive nation in some ways, but it's also the middle of, you know, it's got all these dynamics because, right, Switzerland is like the meeting place for a lot of things that happen that affect the world.
So it's been neutral. It's a neutral zone, correct, which is why.
But my thing is there are two sides, right? You can look at it with two different sides as far as, is this good for freedom of speech, but is it good for our community? And I think that regardless of what we think, what they currently have done does more good than harm at the moment.
So I have some info.
The
Civil Rights Act of 1964 was to basically help with, based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin.
Right, not sexual orientation.
It prohibits unequal application of voter registration, racial segregation in schools, employment, and public accommodations. But there's nothing in there about homophobia.
Yeah, sexual orientation was something that was actually implemented by Obama based on a executive order.
An executive order,
yeah,
which can be taken down. I mean, you know,
but it hasn't. So I'm just, you know, letting you know.
But yeah, there's nothing in the Constitution protecting people based on
it's actually not an amendment.
Right.
This thing is it's an article. So it's a duty to guarantee all citizens equal protection of laws under the 14th and 15th Amendment.
Yeah, exactly. 14th and 15th.
So it's not an amendment. But yes, you're right. The Civil Rights Act did happen. It just doesn't cover us in a way that's constitutional.
Right, because the 14th Amendment states that anyone born in the United States is an American citizen, and all citizens are equally protected under the law. And the 15th Amendment guarantees universal suffrage for all men, regardless of race. So that
got complicated.
What happens to the women anyway?
That's a later battle. That's after the 15th Amendment.
I know. So do you have anything you would like to add to this?
I mean, I'm wondering what the social counterpart of the law in Switzerland is to actually change the hearts and minds, because laws don't do that, right? They're criminalizing something. And so what needs to happen is there also needs to be a social movement part of it. I don't know, like, if the cart's in front of the horse. I don't know enough about the situation, but that's like where my question goes.
I think you have some homework, and you'll have to come back.
Yes, I will.
This is the first I'm hearing of it too.
So again,
can I ask a question? Hold on, I'm not done with this. Is racism in America illegal?
No. It's not illegal to be racist. There's, if you break a law.
I think the concept, because I'm American, of what Switzerland did is kind of like screwing with my head, because it doesn't. It's not that I obviously I don't want people to be homophobic or racist.
Think about Charlottesville. You had people running and protesting and advocating for white power with freaking tiki torches.
Yeah, and again, here we are,
and that's not illegal. That's protected under First Amendment.
Right,
right to assemble, freedom of speech.
Yeah, but if you act on it, if you discriminate based on racism, that's illegal.
Absolutely. Like, you know, if you deny someone employment or housing because of their race, that's against the law. But it is not illegal to say, I hate black people.
Correct.
Or to hate black people, or gay people, or Muslims,
or Spanish people.
Yeah. This is super complicated.
Yeah, welcome to America.
You're so white right now.
I know, right?
I love it. All right, so is there anything else that we can add to this so that we can move on?
I had something, but I forgot it.
It's forgiven. Your brain took a hit too.
She did
when she went down. So, Christopher, you had a story.
Yeah, I think it goes kind of along with this.
So why don't we just tie it in, because then we can go to break.
Right, and I hate to read from an article, but I'm going to read a little bit from this. It's by Trudy Ring on on the Advocate, and it was the United Nations General Antonio Guterres has pledged his support for.
Stop.
You are gonna go for
say that name again and say it right. I've been teaching you.
You haven't been teaching me.
Gutierrez.
Antonio Guterres.
Gutierrez.
I don't roll my R's anymore.
Gutierrez. People.
No, it's not Gutierrez. There's not an I in there. It's Guterres. Look at it again. You want my glasses?
Oh, it is. It's
Gutierrez.
Thank you.
Okay, fine, whatever. Go.
That's right. So, anywho,
Corrected.
he has pledged his support for the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex people while praising India's Supreme Court ruling legalizing same-sex relations, which we had touched on a week or two ago.
Now that was
huge, absolutely huge. And he was quoted saying, "The United Nations stands up for the rights of the LGBTI community. Many of its members are imprisoned, abused, and even killed simply for being who they are or who they love. Progress has been made in recent years, including this month with the decision of the Supreme Court by India." Going on, he also says, "But so long as people face criminalization, bias, and violence based on their sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics, we must redouble our efforts to end these violations." And now he was saying that we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The big thing with this, though, is it's incredibly important that the UN Secretary General has come out and spoken of this.
Well, of course. I mean, you want to think of the UN Council as one of the premier unifying councils out there, right? There's so many. You've got the UN, you've got NATO alliances, and that one has usually relates to war and stuff like that.
Right.
You have
a treaty
all these,
organization,
all these countries, right, that come together and sort of kind of have
176, I believe,
an international type of thing where they say, this is what we think this is where we think humanity should be heading in.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the types of discussions that are had when other nations are involved in discussions.
Right. But the important thing is the UN, it's incredible that they're going out there and that they're speaking about this, but this needs to be followed with action, and I'm wondering to see where it's going to go next. If he's, he was obviously praising the progress that's come out of India, but what about the issues that are still to this day taking place in Chechnya and Azerbaijan and Egypt? And
that was not a word. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I missed that. No, but you're right. But here's the main problem, right? We currently have this individual in our White House.
Always comes back to Trump.
Of course it does, because people look to America, nations look to America for temperature. They take the temperature of a subject, of a topic.
Not anymore.
Based on what we do. And so when you think about what we're spewing out of our White House right now, and that type of language and the demeanor of what some people call a president, and then you go and you attack the very same organization like the UN and all these other councils and parties that are trying to unify the world per se, with one vision, one direction. You get other nations sort of kind of standing back on decisions that are made on an international level because one of your main players is not playing by them.
Right.
It's not on board. He's not in the playground. He's not in the sandbox. And to me,
he's in the sandbox and everybody else is outside the sandbox.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Nasty. Him and Kavanaugh are in there. Anyway, but, to me, I think that there could be so much more that we could do if the U.S. was fully into really advocating for human rights.
Yes.
All human rights.
So, but there's a bigger thing going on here. It's not about, for Trump, it's not about human rights in this situation. It's about money. It's about money. It's about money and the fact that America pays for most of what the UN's doing or funds most of the UN. So until that changes, he will never support the UN.
Well,
we as individuals can and should support what they're
years,
doing because they're doing something right.
Or 2.
No, but at the same time, you know what's funny? At the same time, as much as I hate Trump, if it is United Nations, it should be equally supported by each nation.
But not every nation is as powerful as the U.S. or England or any
so
of
here's an example. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
Here's an example. I'm not saying equally put in the same amount of money. I'm saying equally do what you can, right? So we can probably do more than a lot of nations, but they can do something. So look at it like a percentage, right? we need to fund this thing because it's saving lives, it's saving people. And right now we have a shithead in the White House that's like, we're screwed. We need to save money. So he's trying to be fiscally responsible, even though he's not responsible and stupid. What would make sense is that if every nation came together and said, hey guys, I can actually percentage wise, this is my country and this is what our income is and what my budget is and this is what yours is. Find a percentage that works for everybody that covers the costs. Say it's 5%. Our 5% is going to be a lot more than another country's 5%.
But that's what they're currently doing. But America pays more because America makes more.
They're not doing it at all.
And that's the reason, because there's such a disproportion within the UN. The UN it really doesn't get much done. The UN can go as far as to condemn something,
right?
And especially if you go to the defense
it's
aspect.
More of a symbolic organization.
Absolutely. You know, it was founded after the Second World War. It was a very important union to put together. And when you look at the Security Council, I believe there's 15 nations on the Security Council, 7 of which are like the ones there for life. And those are the ones who have the veto power. So, you know, if something's going on in Syria and 6 of them want to go in and do stuff, but Russia's the one who vetoes it, boom, that's it. So it's very difficult to get something done with the UN. I like the words coming out of the UN, but you need to see the actions following suit.
Agreed. But it's hard to get that unified action when you think about all the other nations that are in there, which include Muslim nations.
Absolutely.
And we know how hard it is to be someone in the LGBT community in a lot of these Muslim nations that condemn homosexuality as a sin punishable by death, by stoning, and by hanging people over the ledges of buildings and letting them drop to their death. So when you think about all that happens, right, and how these countries fight back and say, no, we can't support that, or etc. At this point, we need someone to say, if you can't support that, then you need to get out of the council.
So hold on. I have a question. We went to Muslim nations really quick, and I'm wondering why we went there, because right now our biggest issue is Chechnya in Southern America.
And so you have your
Chechnya has a very high Muslim population in the Caucasus region. Very, very high Muslim population.
Didn't know that.
And now you do, and knowing is half the battle.
But Russia's still not a Muslim nation.
No,
it's an
Orthodox.
It's an Orthodox. I'm not sure.
Islam is a very popular, is one of the most dominating religions in that entire area.
Anyway,
it's actually, I believe, the second biggest after Catholicism or Christianity or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a religious person anyway. I'll tell you a quick story before we go on break. So
I want to say something really quick about this article. I think it's important to note that in this article, it literally says more than 70 countries criminalize consensual same-sex relationships, like we've talked about several times, but it's always good to reiterate. And also criminalize transgender people based on their appearance. They and these laws subject LGBT people to long prison sentences, and in some cases, physical punishment. They also are implicit with encouraging prejudice, hatred, and violence. But laws can change.
Exactly.
Of course.
And I think it's important. I think what the UN is saying is very important. That was a tangent of a conversation, but
it's good. That's what I wanted to talk about.
And that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that with us. So before we go to break, very quickly, I'll tell you a story. I was here on Saturday while Trish was getting trampled. I was home. And my doorbell rings, right? And so I put my dogs away because they get psycho when people come to the door. And so I open the door, and these 2 older ladies are there, Bible in hand and pamphlets and all that stuff. And she goes like, she opened with, "Hi, have you spoken to God today?" And I was like, "No, have you?"
I just got off the phone with him, actually. With her.
"No, have you?" And she just looked at me. She goes like, "No, I mean, no offense." And so I walked out and I said, "How are you?" And she goes like, "Oh, we're doing good. And we're just traveling around, blah, whatnot. And we just wanted to give you this and talk to you a little bit. Are you interested in learning?" And I said, "Quite honestly, not. I'm very, one, I'm very secular in anything religion. And 2, I really have no interest in having a conversation with you or wasting your time, because what you're going to tell me, I don't believe in." And she was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, and then she turns around, she goes like, "My God, your flowers are gorgeous." And so, now you're speaking gay, girl. Now we can talk. And so I said, "Well, no, thank you. And I do this." And she was like, "And what kind of flowers are these?" And I was like, "I don't even know what they are. I just picked them up at Home Depot because they were gorgeous." And so I put them out front, and then she sees my my sweater and I had the emblem for where I work. And she goes like, I used to work there a long time ago. I was like, how long? And she goes, well, like 30 years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I've been there, 12, 15 years or whatnot. So the whole intention of them coming to my house was because they wanted to talk about religion and sort of kind of sit down and have a come to Jesus moment. And it completely turned into this, my flowers are gorgeous. Yes, I'm not married. There's no one else in the house, just me and my 2 babies. And and then we talked about when she used to work for my company. And then I'm like, I'm not a evil person. I'm not going to belittle you for what you believe in. I'm just not interested. But thank you for coming by and thank you for loving my flowers. I'm sure they need a lot of love too. And then, they smiled and they walked away. I'm sure they were like, oh, he's gay. He's a big old fairy, that one. But in the end, it didn't cost me anything to be nice to them because they weren't here to hurt me or anything. They just wanted to talk. And so I just sent them on their way. And instead of talking about Jesus, we talked about flowers. So
You're such a good person.
I try. It's like you have to.
I try.
Like, seriously.
He tries for sure.
You have to try to be a better human, right? If we're going to try to change something, we have to sort of kind of be that change that we want to see, except when it comes to Trump. That's all I got to say. So anyway, do we agree that we can go on break now?
I mean, like, I wanted to say a thank you to somebody, but I guess I can do it later.
No, go for it.
No, do it.
So this past week, I got flowers at work and a teddy bear.
That's right.
And I had told a story last week about me going through it. And then I told another story about me going through it this week. Because I guess I just go through it a lot.
Yeah.
But Hans Hershey sent me flowers and a teddy bear because he knew I was having a hard time and he just wanted to send some love. And I wanted to say, thank you, Hans. And it meant the world to me when I saw that.
And I was so nervous.
It was so sweet.
Because he got the address and his phone number and everything for me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm giving out Nick's stuff. He's going to kill me. But no, I knew what it was for.
It was so sweet. And he sent them all the way from Sweden. So, of course, the flowers were rotten. But,
actually, funny
I'm kidding.
Funny story. He sent them. So the place that he sent them from is the one place that I've built a really close relationship with, the theater. And so, like, we send everybody to this one shop to send flowers to the actors and everybody. And then he went and sent me flowers from the Blossom shop. And I was like, she really listens to the podcast.
Yes, she do.
Yeah, she does. We love Hans. Hans he's been on our show like 4 times already. Mm-hmm. He's about to come
4.5 because
4.5. Yeah.
That one mistake one time.
Oh, fuck you. I will cut her.
Halfway through the interview.
Yeah. Oh, we got to start it all over, Hans.
So my favorite part was that his family was there, like, watching the whole thing. And they're like, yeah, guys, my family thinks you guys are hacked now. Like,
but I love him because he's very engaging. He always engages us on social media, personally through messages, and he's just overall an amazing guy, an amazing author. He does great stuff. We have him coming on the show, I believe, next week or the 13th.
I think it's the week after.
Or the week after. But he is coming back to talk about a new book that he published. It's a children's book because we just think it's very important for children to get the correct information, the right message when it comes to just embracing the lifestyle and our community. And so
he's also a father.
And he's also a father and a husband. And he does a lot for the community. So we're super excited that he always wants to engage with us and come back and see us.
And that he hasn't walked away yet.
I know. We
even had dinner with him one night and he still talked to us after.
Yeah, I didn't go to that. That's why he went.
Yeah, that's why we're still friends. Mm-hmm. But anyway, on that note, we're going to take a break, hear some music, and when we come back, we've got more stories.
You better, but I won't tell you how to feel. Try to paint the picture clear. You're the one that I want near. I wanna hear you make that sound from the love we found. I wanna turn you upside down till we hit the ground. I wanna hear you scream my name. You won't be the same. I wanna you feel it now? Cause I'm fucking loud. You make that sound when the love will round. I wanna turn you upside down so we hit the ground. I wanna when you scream my name, you won't be the same. I wanna you can feel it now. You're so fucking loud. Take it fast and don't go easy. Show me how you like it done. Gone to work, to roll the sleeves up. You can leave it all undone. I know you like it, there ain't no time to fight it. I wanna make you scream. Cause we're fucking loud. Cause we're fucking loud. Cause we're fucking loud. Cause we're fucking loud. Hidden in the corner of this crowded room, visible from your love, will you find me soon? Trapped in the darkness, lost in the night, so far away, out of sight. Discover and release my love somehow. My questions need your answer, give them to me now. Pain inside is way too much, just want to hold you and feel your touch. Hey, oh. Bet you can see me, pull me out of here. Feels like I'm drowning, invisible. Cause you can see me, in the shadows of my fear. Feels like I'm drowning, invisible. Frozen by the longing to be found. My head is spinning round and round. Going on without your love feels like a sin, like sliding a razor blade against my skin. Bet you can see me, pull me out of here. Feels like I'm drowning, invisible. Cause you can see me in the shadows of my fear. Feels like I'm drowning, invisible. need my hands to pull you up above the earth. Well, I will lift you up to show you just how much you're worth. 'Cause we need to be loved. So we need to be loved. If I had you here, I'd wear your heart just like a crown. And if it beats for me, then I would never put it down. 'Cause we need to be loved. So we need to be loved by someone else. By someone else. But why isn't the love that we have for ourselves enough? And why is it we need to be held when our lives get rough? People always tell you it's easy, just stand alone. But I can barely manage to smile when you're not home. We need to be loved. We need to be loved. So we need to be loved. Said we need to be loved. But why isn't the love that we have for ourselves enough? And why is it we need to be held when our lives get rough? People always tell you it's easy, just stand alone. But I can barely manage to smile when I'm not home. So we need to be loved by someone else. To be loved. So we need to be loved. Someone need to be loved. Someone by someone else. By someone else. By someone else.
My head gets caught in the moment, but my heart doesn't know it. Heart doesn't know it. Somehow I'm lost in the lonely, but it's too hard to show it. Too hard to show it. Danse avec moi, danse avec moi, danse avec moi. Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? I travel down the west coast with sun on my shoulders, the sun's on my shoulders. My heart's a winding road, but I can't control it, and nobody knows it. Do I fall in love? Do I fall in love? Do I fall in love? Do I fall in Do I fall in love? You are the one to open my eyes, and you are the one to make me think twice, and you are the one I wanna spend my life with. You are the one, you're looking so nice, and when I'm with you, I'm in paradise, spending my days thinking about you, baby. You are the one I wanna be with, and you're on my mind, I just can't forget you. You are the one I'm gonna spend my life with. Oh baby, do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I fall in? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in?
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the break. That was Dance With Me by Davis Mallory, a previous guest of ours. Welcome back to the show. As always, we know we have Trish here, and we have Chris and Armando joining us. Hi. So anyway, we still have a couple of things that we wanted to run through our amazing subscribers. Thank you. And that's
the toilet.
That's a
I just urinated.
Yeah, and so you'll probably hear that hissing in the background.
Sorry, guys.
So anyway, welcome back. We do have a couple of stories. We do have a story left over from the first half of the break, which was Nick's story. Nick, did you want to talk about it? Are you okay?
It literally sounds like white noise right now.
I'm getting some feedback too.
Yeah, and now it stopped.
Oh,
it really was
that
a toy.
Yeah, I thought it
bathroom.
was different
I
too.
told you.
I know, but we don't listen to you.
Oh, I know. Never do. But anyway, so Nicholas, you want to talk about the story? Shall we move on to the next one?
Fine, I can talk about it.
Good. Please tell us. No, this is important.
So, I mean, we all know that I have a really close friend of mine that is he works for the church.
Uh-huh.
And he's done a lot for me in life and basically saved me in college. But I'm not religious. And this asshole.
There she is.
Can you say Daniel's last name for me?
Daniel, let's see. Where am I? Oh, Daniel Villarreal.
So this story is brought to you, of course, by
Unicornbooty.com.
Oh, I missed it.
Don't worry, you'll have
You gotta be
a second
quicker.
whack at it.
So Paul
You got to be quicker than that.
Kalchik, I'm assuming it's Kalchik. He's 56, and he decided to burn a rainbow flag that was in a church in Philadelphia. I think that's right. No,
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
So
what's the capital of
what's
Pennsylvania?
Harrisburg.
Oh,
Second.
didn't I say Pittsburgh the first
Yeah.
time around?
Yeah, or Philly, one of the two.
Yeah.
Either way, you were wrong.
I know.
You guys done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Proceed, please.
So this church has been this church has had this flag hanging since I believe the 70s or 80s, and it was a gay pastor who decided to come in and give services for those who needed it during a time of need. And this one pastor decided to pull his shit together in a negative way, take the flag off the wall, cut it up, and burn it.
I should have cut his balls off and burned them. But anyway.
Well, he's suspended and he's in hiding right now. So there's that.
I do believe the flag wasn't hanging when he decided to burn it. I believe it was actually moved into a storage room, and he had gone into the storage room and to get rid of it once and for all.
So it triggered his homophobia.
We
and he
had
thought it
covered
was
this
okay.
story before. The flag had been hanging, but I believe someone moved the flag into storage.
Why'd they move it?
But that's where I don't believe it was hanging when he decided to burn it. But please continue. I wanted to put that out there.
I mean, that's
Well,
really
the story says it says he burned a rainbow pride flag found hanging in the church.
yeah.
Oh, so it must have been hanging in the storage closet. That's what it
Somewhere.
was.
It was hanging, girl.
Why would they put it in the closet? For Christ's sake.
We've already been there, done that. We got out. Don't
So-
put our flag in there.
So this bitch is in hiding.
Mhm.
So she, I'm proud of her. She burnt the flag, cut it in pieces, and she ran into hiding for fear of the gay population and the Roman Catholic Church.
Why the Roman Catholic Church? I don't think they would have probably had a problem with him doing that.
Oh, no,
they
he's
did.
suspended.
He's suspended. Yeah.
He's suspended.
Well, obviously he's suspended, but still, it's like I don't think that suspension has anything to do with the Roman Catholic Church.
Well, they had told he had been ordered not to destroy the flag,
and he
did
cut it.
so. So
Mhm.
now
But
he's
like
hiding.
he made an announcement that he was going to do it. And
Right.
there was a protest against it.
And he had been ordered not to do it. And now he's hiding because he's going to get spit roasted from gays and the Catholic Church. Like they're going to come at him at both ends.
But why is he only suspended? That's my real question. Like,
Perhaps pending a further investigation.
oh, he burnt a fucking flag,
Well, due process and everything. But
which
Yeah.
symbolizes an entire community. So
Absolutely.
she's got to go.
yeah.
She's got to go.
I'm
You're
reading
not.
some of-
You're not one of God's disciples, honey.
I'm reading some of the like paragraphs in the story, and it says, quote, in an interview with Church Militant, a radical Catholic group that considers homosexuality, abortion, contraception, divorce, and remarriages a sin that people go to hell for, Paul Kulchik has since said that he never received any written dismissal from the church, but rather was told that police would be called if he would forcibly be removed if he didn't willingly leave the church. So apparently they've been asking him, don't do this. And if you do, this is what's going to happen. And to me, it's just like, who is this radical Catholic group?
You know what bothers me the most is that
What?
a gay pastor went into this church that he's now, I guess, a part of or was
Mm-hmm.
to give hope for people that were probably in a time like they were in a time of need. And if they were in a space like a church where a lot of times people back in that time were afraid of going into the church because that's what put them down. A lot of times, like the families were raised Catholic and then they put their children down. So this pastor had the strength to go in there and put a rainbow flag behind a cross, hang it behind the altar and give services. And then he had the audacity to go in, take it, whether it was hanging or not hanging, or in a closet or not in a closet, cut it up and burn it.
Well, here's what it says that basically what his reasoning for doing it. It says, Kulchik says that he was interested to see how it would all play out as the church had already hired volunteer policemen there since his September 19th flag burning to make certain I wouldn't be tarred or feathered by the rabid homosexualist of the northern side of Chicago. He adds that that two church officials have since threatened to have him committed to the St. Luke's Institute, a priest-focused psychiatric center in Maryland. Amid these threats, or this threat, and other alleged death threats, Kulchik says he's now in hiding.
Well, I think it's important that these church officials have threatened him in such a way to have him committed, because that is showing that they believe that he definitely is suffering from some sense of mental illness, and he can be.
Well, at least they recognize that.
Yeah, they can recognize that, and he can get help for it because he clearly has some prejudices that can be, it can be cured. It can be cured.
It's weird.
What?
So there's a comment,
Oh.
right? There's a comment here from one of the readers of this blog, and it says, I look at the existence of creepy, vicious priests like this the same way I look at neo-Nazis and KKKers. It's better to have them out front. I'm assuming he meant to say it's better to have them be out front about their ignorant bigotries where they can be countered than working against the GLBT community in private and having their poison spread without their lies being disproven. It's ugly and hateful and hurtful to hear and see what they say and do, but it's wrong living in these false in this false sense of security. And then have it blow up in your face violently and unexpectedly. And that there's a lot of truth in that statement. And, a lot of people don't realize that in a time in where people are exiting religion and the church at such a high rate, to do things like this and to go against a community that's filled with loving individuals like Trish and Chris and Armando and myself. I love people. We're not evil. We're not a sin. We're not a mistake. And people need to understand that. And unfortunately, religion doesn't really play well with that because of things that were written over 2,000 years ago. And they need to stop.
Right, because the only mistake is the hatred that you had been taught.
Yeah, but not only that you have been taught, but you're spewing. Here you are saying or promoting yourself as a man of God, and God to me does not hate. God to me would not condemn you for being who you are. So, this to me is just, what? He deserves every single bit of adversity that he gets in his life as a result of the actions that he took against the LGBT community.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. If you're a gay man or if you're a priest, no matter who you are, you're still, if you believe in it, you'll be judged, right? So this man or whoever will be judged whether you're religious or you're not religious.
I judge myself. I'm a bitch.
Every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to correct myself. The flag has been in the church since 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Montalbano, a gay pastor, hung the flag during a time where people
talking about another 2 years,
HIV
it'll be 30
or
years. Yeah, it'll be like 30 years soon.
So yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, we can.
That was
move
at
on.
the tail end of the AIDS crisis.
Yeah, actually, well,
after this guy. So this
I'd like to think that we're still in it, right? We've got PrEP and we've got all these amazing things that are happening to counteract the effects of HIV, but I don't think we're anywhere near done with this crisis. It's still
well. I mean, the crisis in America has slowed down. There are
of course
the crisis internationally has not.
Yeah, there's been a lot of improvements medically when it comes to HIV and stuff like that, but we're still in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in it, definitely.
And one more thing, mind you, he hung this flag after his own parish. Sorry, was burnt down. So that's so fucked up. Like this guy's fucking church was burnt down, and then he burnt the flag that he brought to the church. Like to support a people.
He needs help.
He's help.
He should pray a little harder.
Well, can't listen.
Sometimes I wonder,
pray the gay away. You can't pray the crazy away.
Sometimes I wonder though, like if God's looking down or Jesus or whoever, if you believe in that, and it's just like, what the fuck?
What is wrong with you people?
Absolutely.
You white men need to shut the fuck up.
Thanks, Trish.
God is looking down and she is pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that.
Ariana said so.
She's like, I've been with everybody. Let me tell you. And you're missing out if you're going to put us down. Hello?
Wow. I'm just, this saddens me. But all right. So listen, let's move on. Because we do want to wrap up the show. We do want to get to finish our cocktails, and I've still got to pack and do all that good stuff. So
I
know. You're going on vacation. I'm going to work. And Chris,
I have to play with dogs and write papers.
Oh, who are you kidding? You're going to love it. Oh, by the way, I have something to show our Patreons.
Oh my God.
Chris actually does homework.
Chris's notebook.
I've been looking for that. I wanted to go to it to get like a reference for something we talked about
Look
earlier.
how fat it is. It's like really, look at all this chicken scratch.
You have terrible handwriting.
I have never seen more incorrect things in text than in the math section of that notebook.
I didn't want it in everybody's view, so I moved it behind me.
I was literally looking for that.
Do you want this?
Well, no, I mean, it's past when we were talking about fires earlier. I was looking for a fire in a specific date, and I'm like, where is my notebook? I had it right now.
I knew I wrote this down. It's
I put it behind me.
I do homework. I had been doing math homework since I got here. You saw that.
He's been doing very good. He tried explaining it to me. I was like, bitch, I don't get that.
Yeah,
you're speaking gibberish.
It's not fun. And I usually go from either banging on the desk to like, just when I finally get an answer right, it feels
or then he would be like,
good.
Oh my God. But it was right when I had it on my paper. I just didn't put the what is it?
Type it in. I like missed an exponent
or something like
exponent,
that. I don't know.
Exponent.
It's math, girl.
No,
I
your
don't
pen
get it.
does.
I don't get it. So anyway, I wanted to talk about a little bit about Brett Kavanaugh.
Fuck her.
Definitely fuck her.
No one else?
But not because of what's been going on in the news regarding, his nomination and things like that. I wanted to talk about Brett Kavanaugh in the sense that there is an anti-gay organization called NOM or NOM that wants to use NOM.
I use that
National Organization for Marriage.
Thank you. That would like to use Brett Kavanaugh's nomination and possible confirmation to the Supreme Court of the United States as a means to end marriage equality. It's only been a few years since, of course, we won the freedom to marry in the United States. And while it seems unthinkable, yes, we could lose it just as fast. That's what the article says here. This article was written by Matt Bume for Hornet.com, which means that it's brought to you by
UnicornBooty.com.
Oh, I
Gotcha, baby.
Kinda.
You got it.
I was like, I think something's happening.
So anyway, so the marriage equality victory of the Obergefell case is fragile and vulnerable to attack from conservative Republicans. Never more so than now, with this rapidly anti-gay National Organization for Marriage throwing its full weight behind Trump's U.S. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. And we've talked about this before on the show, right? We've said,
and this organization.
Yeah, we've said how fragile that decision is in the past, because when you think about the current dynamics of the court, right, before Justice Scalia passed away, we had 4-4 conservative, liberal, and then that one judge that sort of kind of could favor the swing. Mm-hmm. With Brett Kavanaugh being nominated and possibly being confirmed, we don't know yet because of all these allegations that are coming up.
I'm sorry. We're in a new world now.
It will happen.
We may confirm him pending an FBI investigation.
Which was granted.
The fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Your Supreme Court nominee pending an FBI investigation may be appointed. Good luck, everybody else.
I think.
Does it surprise you?
No!
Donald Trump was inaugurated president of the United States.
After having 17 allegations of improper sexual behavior with women,
but it's
alleged against him.
It's even way beyond the sexual assault accusation.
He set the tone. When that tape came out about him saying that he wanted to that he should grab women by the pussy, and that he wanted to move on her like I can't remember exactly what it was. But when that came out and America sort of kind of just went, not all of America, obviously, we didn't. But when that side of America, right, the evangelical vote and that electorate, they just sort of kind of shrugged it off as locker room talk. That set, for me, that was the moment in where the tone was set, because Trump had always been very vulgar and very uneducated in his way of speaking, right? He had no logic to his speaking, but for those people who think like him, it made sense. And to me, when that tape came out and nothing happened, that set the tone for the rest of his presidency and for the rest of what we're experiencing now. Anyone now nominated that may have some sort of sexual impropriety or sexual assault or sexual misbehavior associated with them at all now have that backing of someone who acts, talks, and feels exactly the same way they do.
Right, but putting the sexual assault allegations aside, there are so many reasons why Brett Kavanaugh should never be elevated to the highest court of the land.
For one,
he's going to be, now at this point especially, going to be bringing politics
into
to the Supreme Court, which
Correct.
can never, ever be allowed.
And he's
calling
already
out-
demonstrated that.
Absolutely. He's
during
calling
his
out this
hearings.
as a smearing and a ploy by the Democrats. He's turning this into, he's fighting with political.
He's fighting with the Trump card.
Absolutely.
He's doing.
He's fighting with politics, and that's never allowed on the Supreme Court. Also, I don't trust his views on presidential power, where they
correct. I
really
was just
put
about to say
the, yeah,
that.
where he really believes the president has much more power over the other branches.
Well, he
And
believes
that's-
that a sitting president should not be indicted.
absolutely right, of course.
And to me, that's just ridiculous. But
If you break the law, you break the law.
period. So, but anyway, for the sake of this particular article that we were covering and the subject that that's at hand, what I wanted to talk about was the possibility of having something like marriage equality, Roe versus
v.
Wade, overturned. These are very significant things that happened in our past, right? That will affect a very large portion of people in the U.S. So a lot of people say, oh, marriage equality being overturned, that will never happen. It could, because when you think about it, adding Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court will now tip the court to a more conservative court, because you have replacing Scalia was Gorsuch, right? So he was that replacement. When Kennedy retired, Kennedy and Anthony, what was the other one? Oh God. Anyway, there's two judges that were, or justices that were sort of kind of that. I don't know where they're going to fall on this. No, I don't think. Actually, it was Stevens. Yeah, Stevens and Kennedy were those two people that you really didn't know how they were going to vote. So depending on, I think that these were two justices that sort of kind of took the temperature of the country and said, yeah, regardless of my personal beliefs, this is where I think we should go.
Because it doesn't come down to personal beliefs. All they have to do is, it comes down to the Constitution of the United States.
But for Kavanaugh, it does. It's personal. And so it is so for Gorsuch as well.
Well, for everybody, it's personal. You keep talking about conservative versus liberal.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we have a balance on the Supreme Court is because we have conservative versus liberal, and it's how they interpret their opinion of our Constitution.
And correct. Why we should have a balanced court, which is another reason why Kavanaugh should not be elevated.
Exactly. But if he did, that tips the scales more conservative as far as the Supreme Court goes. And if any of the states that have issues with marriage equality, like, for example, what was Waffle House Kim's state?
Kentucky.
Was it Kentucky?
No.
So you know what's...
Was it Kentucky?
Yes, it was Kentucky.
Let's say, for example, Kentucky decides that they want to challenge that law now that Kavanaugh's on the court, right? And they say, no, for religious purposes, this goes against our state constitution. So we're going to bring this to the Supreme Court of the United States while Kavanaugh and Gorsuch are there. They could decide, go against precedents, right? Because it's already happened. So many things have happened that we thought would never happen.
It takes years to get to the Supreme Court, though.
Yeah, but you can still get there. But also, if you're talking about Kentucky at this point, a judge's ruling enabled Kentucky's last abortion clinic to stay open when they were attempting to close it because of loopholes or some reasoning where they were bound to have some kind of ambulance services required that they knew that the abortion clinic couldn't afford. Kentucky, a state that is definitely or is very pro-life. A judge there decided that this was against their constitution to close that abortion clinic. So that's a peace of mind coming out of Kentucky, along with what you were saying is possible.
It is very
charges
possible.
Are brought up to the Supreme Court.
All it takes is for someone to challenge the law at a state level and have it ride through the state judiciary process, end up at the state Supreme Court, and they can't rule in favor or against and push it to the Supreme Court. And the moment that happens with two more conservative judges on the bench, it's over.
It would flip-flop. The numbers wise, what was over?
It would be over. It's unprecedented to actually overturn something that's already been set by the Supreme Court, but it could happen. And, my thing is this man would be so wrong so wrong for everything that we stand for as far as the fabric of this country and what we stand for. But it's a possibility. And the only way that, at this point, I have a feeling he's going to get confirmed. He's going to go through.
Murkowski and Collins were definitely holding on to.
It kills me. These are two women. Senator Flake sort of kind of came through, really, but I think it was more so to show face. He's retiring. Right. So maybe he just wants to be like, hey, listen, I tried. As he's going out, but no, bitch, you didn't try hard enough. You could have just simply said no. Your vote was critical in not allowing his nomination to come out of committee.
I mean, when he was confronted with those two women, that's clearly what led to him, even though both of them kind of annoyed
And so
me.
now we need women to come through. Lisa Murkowski and, the senator from Maine.
Susan Collins from Maine.
You know what?
You're about to be in Maine.
I'm going to Maine. Maybe I should go visit her office.
I'm sick and tired of hearing that. We need the men on the Supreme Court to grow a fucking set.
Yeah, well, that too.
Because they're just fucking scared.
So that being said, I think that as a community, I think that as a people, if you are truly concerned about what's happening, come tomorrow. We have 5 weeks. 5 weeks till election day, 5 weeks to determine who's going to have control of the House and Senate.
Flip that house.
And because I have a feeling that he's going to get confirmed, and the only way we can remove someone from the bench is through impeachment. And you can't do that if you don't have control of the House. That's very important. And also control of the Senate. Because,
or enough proof to be able to get the 2/3 vote in the Senate.
Well, the problem is that, we have, this is the issue that a lot of people get confused. Like they say, Clinton got impeached, but he was able to serve his term out because his impeachment was not prosecuted in the Senate, right? So the House has the right to impeach a president and the right to bring articles of impeachment against someone.
Bring the articles of impeachment.
But that still has to go through a trial in the Senate. Yeah.
All it is bringing the articles of impeachment it's simply a charge.
Yeah. And once you bring those charges, it is up to the Senate to prosecute. And so we've mentioned before, the reason Clinton was able to finish his 2 terms as president is because although he did get impeached, his charges were dismissed when it got to the Senate. And so in order for us to be successful in removing someone like this from the court, right, from the Supreme Court, I'm trying, baby, I'm trying. He wants his pad. That's a big pad. In order to be successful in doing something like this, we need to be able to have control of both houses of Congress for them to be successful. I don't think that there should ever be any Supreme Court nominee allowed to actually go from a nomination to a full-fledged, like, I am on the court if you have any type of sexual scandal associated with your name. I mean, how could you? We did it for Clarence Thomas, and I say to myself, my God, did we not learn our lesson? We put Anita Hill through hell when she had to go and testify in front of Congress. And believe it or not, she did it in front of a 9-people majority, half of which are still the 9-people majority in the Judiciary Committee that sat there and had to listen to the current trial that is going in, when Dr. Ford came up forward and said, this is what happened to me. And I watched that. I sat there in awe of her strength, her power, her courage that it took for her to come up and say, this is what happened to me. And then I saw the other half of that. And I saw this man come undone, arrogant, very dismissive and angry. And I was just shocked. I was like, how are we allowing this nomination to come out of committee? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't ask. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? I agree.
I want you to run for Senate and be the Trish that you are at GayTalk 2.0 in the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Can we just roll it back for a second? Because I want to talk about NOM a little bit. So
let's talk about NOM.
So National Organization for Marriage is NOM. So I think right now we really don't have much that we can do about what's going on with Kavanaugh. Correct? We have to kind of wait it out.
Another week.
You can make your phone calls. You can go out and vote when it's time to vote. But right now we have to wait this situation out. But I want to talk about NOM because what we can do is we can protest NOM. And we can talk about how terrible they are. So their slogan is protecting marriage and faith communities that support it. They are and have been supporting people that support the reversal of marriage equality. They have supported Don't Ask, Don't Tell. They've supported basically anything that's anti-gay. They are an anti-LGBT justice organization. They literally plan to bring a lawsuit to the Supreme Court if he gets elected. That being said, this organization, for some uplifting news, has had a couple things happen recently.
Please do tell, do tell.
All right. So I know we talked about the anti-gay rally that happened in DC back in June.
This year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, 2017.
Was that the year that we went?
I think so.
Yeah. We went for the march.
And only 47 people showed up.
I remember.
Oh, that was more recent. That was more
No,
recent.
that was in 2017.
Yeah, not when we were there.
Okay.
And then in 2016, Nam protested same-sex marriage in DC again, and it drew 11 people. So yes, that's grown from 11 to 50. What did I say? 57?
It's not big.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't stand up and say something about it. But the fact is that this organization is a huge funder for anti-LGBTQ congressmen, justices.
And the fact that they've already threatened to bring a lawsuit as soon as Kavanaugh is confirmed, that just tells you it will happen.
Yeah. So we need to understandably, Brett Kavanaugh is a terrible human being, and he may or may not be nominated or elected to the Supreme Court. But at this point,
he was fake crying. It pissed me off. But anyway, go ahead.
At this point, I think we really need to focus on the National Organization for Marriage, because that's the organization that's coming after us. It's not necessarily him, but the fact that they're funding him means he has to then follow through with what he promised them.
Which is why it's bringing politics to the highest court.
Of course. Which is why I say you have a choice and you have a voice and you have a say in what happens on November 3rd.
And you know what's really crazy? That I don't even I've heard this and I've read this several times, but every time I see this, it fucks with my head. So the Supreme Court, as we know, has been known to reverse decisions. I still don't think that this would ever be reversed, or like to think that way anyway. But the United States didn't decriminalize homosexuality until 2004. That's not that long ago. I graduated high school in 2005. And I was having plenty of homosexual acts before that. And I didn't know I was being a criminal. Like, that's crazy. And they initially upheld the criminalization in 1980. In the 1980s, I should say. But
well, I mean, one of the biggest things that worked in our favor was the decriminalization of sodomy, right? And that happened long before 2004.
But homosexuality was actually criminalized in America until 2004. It was illegal to be gay until 2004.
I was a big old Mary then.
And think about how far we've come, right? In such a short amount of time.
Big old Mary.
But with every, I don't know.
Which is what, going back to the first story that we covered, every little win that we get just really opens the door for more. And I think that people just need to stand their ground and keep going and keep fighting. And that's why we say to our youth, don't expect that those that have already fought the fight and walk the walk, talk the talk, are going to continue to do that. You at some point have to pick up that baton and you have to swirl it in the air and go for it.
And honestly, too, like every revolution or change has never been met with, okay, yeah, this makes sense. It's been met with 5 steps forward or 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So we have to acknowledge that that's what's happening in our country right now. And the only thing we can really do is, one, call our congressman, call the Senate, call whoever the fuck you want to call a goddamn president. I'll call Michelle. I mean, like, we're good friends, but like, if we do take 2 steps back, we're not defeated.
No, but
we're stronger for it.
But I will tell you this though, in an unprecedented thank you, situation like having something like gay marriage reversed, it's going to take a huge fight to be able to undo that.
Absolutely.
Huge. And so that's my fear, my worry.
The day Trish goes into politics.
She'll be president someday. So let me
Trish for Senate.
Yes, right? So let me go ahead.
The
Chris.
Rock Trish 2020.
Well, I just want to add something, and it's just going to take me a second to get through it. But when Nick said, call your senators, call your representatives, I'm just going to give out some phone numbers real quick.
Please tell me it's Lisa.
Well, I'm going to say for all of our Connecticut listeners, I'm going to give the DC numbers. Richard Blumenthal, one of our senators, 202-224-2823. Chris Murphy, 202-224-4041. And for the reps, John B. Larson, 202-225-2265. For Joe Courtney, 202-225-2076. For ours here, Rosa DeLaura, 202-225-3661. For Jim Himes, 202-225-5541. And for Elizabeth Etsy, 202-225-4476. Remember that your voice matters. We put these people there. These are the 7 people who represent our state of Connecticut. Call them and let them know how you feel.
And it may not be the right time to say this, but Chris Himes, God damn, he's cute.
It's definitely not the right time.
I saw him on the Rachel Maddow show.
Definitely not the right time.
But he's cute. So I can admire and call him at the same time. Be like, hey, listen, you know what you got to vote on, right? But I just want to tell you, Dad is waiting for you.
Can I ask a favor of you two? And
3.
you as well.
Uh-huh. And Trish.
I want to call somebody an asshole.
Who? Oh!
I want to actually call an organization and a person an asshole.
Okay, let's do it.
So to Brett Kavanaugh and the National Organization for Marriage.
Wait. Hold on.
Are you going to play me some music? Are you going to give me some love?
I'm going to give you some love. Hold on.
Oh my God.
I got to find this.
So
I got to find this. It's got to happen because, Melissa Etheridge was at the Durham Fair this weekend.
What? I didn't go.
Yes.
I'm getting moose bumps.
She was there. So I have to find this. Hold on.
Because I get moose
All right, fine,
bumps,
stop
not
talking.
goosebumps.
We can talk.
Not now. Yeah, you
Take
go
a
ahead.
deep breath.
Okay.
All right. So just so everybody knows, as soon as Donald Trump nominated Brett, this organization started blasting their members with repeated emails urging them to donate money and pressure Republicans to force Kavanaugh through.
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
No, she's not ready.
Oh
my God, Tommy, you gave me some love.
She almost tipped over. Sorry.
Okay, well, so I'm back. Why is it that song makes me talk like this?
It's sexy.
So to all of those assholes out there that put this amazing LGBTQ community down, and to Brett Kavanaugh and the National Organization for Marriage, you're an asshole.
Oh, it's been a while since
We
did
haven't
it.
lost it.
Oh, kinda.
Wait, can
All
we just can we just hear this out and then close out the show? Let's play this under the end of the show.
All right. So but I'm going to stop it and then we'll play it again. Just let you know. So, no, it's
Some
Melissa
improv
Etheridge, and we
today.
met. So, if for those of you who are new subscribers, when Club Pulse happened, it was very traumatic for us, right? We're bartenders. We work at a bar. We know, or we don't know, but we can imagine what it's like to be at work and have someone walk in and start shooting, and your patrons are gone and things like that. And that happened on a Saturday, right? It was Saturday into Sunday. It was 2:00 in the morning, Sunday morning, when the shootout broke out on June 12th. It was very traumatic for our community. And I remember that we heard the song Pulse. Actually, we had not heard it. Someone who listened to our show advised us of the song. And he said, you should listen to it. You should play it on your show. And I said, well, unfortunately, we can't because, we don't have the rights to play the music. So we have to sort of kind of do without it. And this conversation was all happening on Twitter. And the moderator for Melissa Etheridge's account was actually watching our conversation. And she replied and she goes, you absolutely have permission to play the song on the show. And I said, can I get that in writing? She goes, sure. What's your email? She sent it over. We had the publishing company send over the rights, the song, the files, and we started using the song. And we developed this segment called Angels and Assholes. And that's where the whole asshole thing that Trish just went through came from. So what we decided to do was that we were going to dedicate 49 episodes to 49 individuals that we lost, and we did. And in the process of dedicating an episode to one of our angels that fell on June 12th at Club Pulse, we shamed 2 senators that voted against gun control reform. And they were our assholes. Common sense gun control reform. And they were our assholes. And this played out for 49 weeks. It was one of the most amazing things that we have ever experienced.
Quite humbling.
2 weeks later, we decided to get bold. And we reached out to Melissa's people and said, you know, what do you think about her coming on the show and talking about the song and talking about why she created it, etc. And she agreed. And we've had Melissa on twice. It was very surreal and amazing. And we've had an experience outside of the show. Like, you went to Tanglewood, you guys saw Melissa live. She was here in Durham Fair, and she's been an amazing person to interact with on the show as a result of what happened at Pulse and the song. That being said, go Trish. You were saying.
I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah,
I was just let's close out the
we
show.
we called Kavanaugh an asshole, and of course the organization.
Yeah, fuck her.
Yeah.
So I think it's time that we definitely should close our show, but we have 2 more things that we need to cover before we do. So our guest, Armando, how are you?
Hi.
You're nice and quiet in that little
I
corner.
know.
Speak right into the mic like it's a penis.
It's a lot to
Hello.
handle.
Hi.
All right. So Armando, because he's here and he's our guest, he's going to actually be reading our Gay Talk term for today. So when we say
This week's Gay Talk term is, of course, brought to you by
UnicornBooty.com. Oh no, I'm never gonna get it.
what is our Gay Talk term?
Grand Canyon.
Oh, that's Trish.
I know that was like a knowing laugh. It is a loose-fitting anus, as complained about by an active partner.
And can we use it in a sentence?
Sure. Talk about the Grand Canyon. Her ass is as wide as that natural wonder itself.
So funny story that you use that term.
Oh,
This week we were supposed to have Dr. Goldstein on the on the show with us, but he had jury duty, so he cannot be with us.
If he got selected, I'm going to be very jealous because I sat there for hours and they didn't take me.
Oh my God. So anyway,
you get paid
if you
for
have a
jury
loose,
duty,
if
don't
you
you?
have a Grand Canyon, we have a doctor for you.
Absolutely.
Stitch and stitch.
Yep, he does a courtesy stitch. 1, 2, 3. You're good to go.
You're
All
tight.
right.
You're ready to go. It's like nothing ever happened. Ask Trish. She's
real.
speaking from experience.
Yeah.
All right. So, Christopher, you didn't put it in our notes, but what's
It's in
happened?
the notes.
Oh, I don't see it. On this day in gay history?
Yeah. Today's On This Day in Gay History brought to you, of course, by
UnicornBooty.com.
Nailed it.
Got it.
You were cueing me.
That's perfect. 9th time's a charm. So
Fourth time.
On this day in gay history, October 1st, 1994, where in Missouri, this began the
That's not a
first
word.
U.S. LGBT History Month. The first month-long observance to honor lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender history is started by a Missouri high school teacher in collaboration with organizations like GLSEN. Gleason, exactly. October is chosen to include National Coming Out Day and the anniversaries of 2 of the marches of Washington.
Nice.
Yay!
Yay! So that's a good fact.
All right. So, listen, we're going to bring this home. So I'm going to.
Oh, before you do
Can
it,
we do this? Yeah.
can I do one more phone number?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Not yours though, right?
No, not mine. You can probably find it on the internet somewhere. Anyway, if you so the switchboard for the Senate, so you can call this number and someone will pick up, and you just tell them who your senator is, and they will send you to their office. It's 202-224-3121, and just use that anywhere in the country and tell them who you need to speak to, one of your senators, and they will just switch you over.
Thank you
Fantastic.
so much for saying that. That's
That
incredible.
could have
Because we have
saved
listeners.
That could have saved Chris a whole entire segment.
But-
But it saved the show 5 minutes.
Facts. But it's so important because we have listeners from across the entire country. So I was only able to give the numbers for our representatives and senators. So I thank you very much for putting that. And please call your senators. Be sure, remind them why they're there, whose voices they're
And
representing.
remember, they're human, so just tell them a human story, and they will hopefully tell it for you too.
Yeah,
So-
of course.
So I know we need to close up the show. I'm super lucky to work in an industry like you. We
Yeah.
both work in the same industry. And I'm at work the other day when this whole thing with Brett was going down, and all I could hear is the the big boss of our theater walking around being like, "Can you believe what's going on? You know what? Everybody take 5 minutes and call your senator. Call the senator right now."
Mhm.
It's important.
And like he literally made the effort to come out and say, like, we are busy, we are slammed, we're about to open a show, but take 5 minutes and try to get through to the senator or whoever. Just call somebody. And that's super powerful and important.
Yeah. So 202-224-3121.
And we'll put it on tonight's post as well, just to
Please
make sure
do.
that everybody has that information. It's very important. Remember, election is 5 weeks away on November 6th. I said the 3rd earlier, but it's really the 6th. So make sure that you go out and you make that voice heard, regardless of what state you're in. It's very important. So that being said, we're going to give ourselves some more love, right? Let me see if I can get this to play from the beginning. Yes. All right. So today's
That's
announcement
nice.
is going to be in a sexy voice. So if you love the show, you make sure
So sexy.
to rate and review on your favorite podcasting service. This helps others know about the show, and it ensures that it becomes more visible within the podcasting community. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as our episode is published. And if you are like the many subscribers on Patreon that watch us on our live video stream, you can support the show, and in doing so, you help us be able to bring you a show like this. Any donations that can be in any denomination of $1 or more are greatly appreciated, and you can do so by becoming a Patreon on patreon.com, looking for GayTalk 2.0. Christopher?
And next week, we welcome back the very handsome and intelligent Dr. Evan Goldstein for the next installment of Tales from the Tail.
Were you hitting on him in that?
Slightly.
Thank you to our guest, by chance, Armando, for joining us today on the show. It was wonderful to have you in
Thank you.
studio.
It's amazing. Christopher?
There's nothing sexier than safe sex. So let's put a rubber on this episode. As always, our show is available on our website, gaytalk20.com, under show and episodes. It is also available as a free download on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher Radio.
All right.
Guess what? I announced something. Nick announces. You can find us on social media.
Sexy, baby,
Facebook,
sexy.
GayTalk 2.0.
There you
Instagram,
go.
GayTalk 2.0. Twitter, at GayTalk20. You can email us at gaytalk2.0@gmail.com, and that means you're emailing me. Bye.
All right, you can
Tom, take it away.
Thank you. And if you need to reach out to us, you can just head on over to our website, click on the Contact Us tab right at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments, you can suggest topics, submit a question for the cast or an individual host, which we suspect it'll be Chris from now on. You can also call us and leave a question via voice message for us to answer for you on the show. That phone number is 334-GAY-TALK. And if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Do not forget that we do stream live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. Thank you, and y'all have a good night. Bye. Enjoy, Melissa. Bye.
And my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win. Underneath the skin, everybody's got a pulse. Everybody's got a pulse. I am human. I am love. And my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win. Underneath the skin, everybody's got a pulse. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win. Underneath the skin, everybody's got a pulse. Oh, I am human, I am love, and my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win. Underneath the skin, everybody's got a pulse. Everybody's got a pulse.
All right, there's that hissing noise again from the toilet. Ladies and gentlemen on Patreon, thank you so much for tuning in. We just clicked stop. We're going to process our episode and get it out to all the masses out there on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and Tuned In. And of course, on our website, GayTalk2.0.com. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our guest Armando for joining us. And of course, Chris and Trish. She's alive. We're happy and proud.
We actually have a guest next week, by the way.
We do. Who do we have?
We fucked that up.
How? Who?
Scott Stabili.
Oh, okay. So at least we have an opportunity to make that right with our Patreon listeners.
I just read the script.
So we do have someone who's coming on the show, and we're gonna have to make up super like.
We'll just do a little separate recording and send it out there.
Of course, we can do that. We can do that. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're super proud and happy that you're with us, and you're going to see us again next week.
And if you're watching, send us an email. We want to know who's watching. Let us know what you think about it.
Well, we know Mama Kim is watching.
Well, of course. Hey, Mama Kim, how are you, girl?
Mwah. Mwah. Send her a kiss. You're so nasty.
Simmer down. Simmer down now. Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.
Gotta go.